One of the greatest composers once said that the guitar is a miniature orchestra in and of itself. The person I did my research project on proved this to be true. His name was Francisco Tarrega. Looking at his biography into one of his most important works, one of his most recorded works, I'm going to try to educate myself and at the same time educate you guys on what the guitar can be and what the guitar has been. Francisco Tarrega was born in Spain, November 21st, 1852. And today, at his home place where they lived, there is a marble plaque, and on one side of this plaque there is the seal of the city in which he was born, which is Villarreal, and on the other side there's a guitar. And underneath the guitar there's an inscription that says, "In this house was born on November 21st, 1852, for the honor and the glory of Villarreal, the eminent guitarist and composer, Don Francisco Tarrega." Kind of funny that this town thinks of Francisco Tarrega as a hero. It sort of brought that town into the limelight. Francisco began his career in music on the piano, as many people did, and the reason why he did this because the guitar took a downturn after its heyday. In Northern Europe, the guitar went the way of the streets, went the way of the gypsies. I think I've mentioned that before. But south of the Pyrenees, there was a Spanish-based renaissance of the guitar. One of the leaders of this renaissance, this resurgence of guitar in Spain, was a man named Julian Arcas, whom Francisco Tarrega saw him play in 1862. Well, the family that Francisco was born into had several sons and a couple daughters. They moved to a town called Castillon, where his father took a job as the caretaker of a house of charity. And that's where Francisco got his first guitar teacher. His name was Manuel Gonzalez. He was blind and taught Francisco a little bit about the guitar, but Francisco quickly outgrew the instruction of Gonzalez. And so what happened was, because Arcas had come to the town before, Francisco's father and a bunch of prominent people in the town asked that he come back. And of course he did, and he listened to Francisco play the guitar, and Arcas was surprised by the facility in which Francisco played and offered to direct his studies. And at that time, Arcas was living in Barcelona, and the family, though they were poor, his father worked really hard to get enough money to send Francisco to Barcelona to be with Arcas. And of course, when Francisco got there, he was a teenager, and he left the house that he was living in to go live in the streets with the urchins and the hoodlums. And the person who was in charge of Francisco in Barcelona, sent a letter to his dad, and his dad had to save up a bunch of money in order to go look for him in Barcelona. And when he got there, he was surprised that Francisco was well known in the taverns. That's where he was working, that's where he was playing his guitar and living. In fact, there is an apocryphal story that Francisco broke 2 strings on his guitar and went and played with 4 strings, and he played quite well, so I find that interesting. But Francisco was forced to resign himself to live back in Castillon with his dad and the discipline of his father and of his teachers. Well, what happened was, there was a man named Antonio de Torres. He was part of the Spanish resurgence of the guitar, and he was a builder, a luthier, and he built really good guitars. And he revolutionized the guitar construction and gave us the current classical guitar that we have, it with its string length and its fan strutting in the inside of the face of the guitar. And Francisco's patron thought that Francisco should play the best guitar that there was out there. So he took Francisco to Sevilla, where Mr. Torres had his workshop, and he started. Mr. Torres didn't think much about this guy coming into his workshop, but then he let him play some lower costing guitars and realized that Francisco had a gift, and he took that guitar. And after playing several lower end guitars, Mr. Torres went into the back of the shop and got one that was extremely well made, and said, "This is the guitar for you." Very expensive guitar at the time, and his patron, Francisco's patron, purchased this guitar in 1869, and Francisco continued to play this guitar until 1889. It's not too often that you play a guitar for 20 years, but he played that guitar well. During this time, there was also revolution in Spain, and of course, being a man, Francisco had to join the army. And after his service in the army, Francisco entered the Conservatory of Music in Madrid, where he spent a year learning the piano and learning theory. His teachers there said that you should give up that guitar. The guitar is not going to be anything. You should spend your time learning piano. And so Francisco split his time. He played the piano, he learned theory, but most of his time was spent on guitar. After leaving the conservatory, Francisco became a recognized guitarist in Spain. By 1877, he was earning his living as a music teacher and a concert guitarist. He gave recitals in Paris and London and was hailed as the eminent guitarist of his age. But his influence on the guitar is not only for his performance, but for his composing. Francisco, one of the seminal pieces, the piece that I looked at, one that is recorded over and over again, is Recuerdos de Alhambra, and it means memories or remembrances of the Alhambra. The Alhambra is a palace that was built in the 9th century in Granada, Spain, and it was remodeled in the 11th century by the Moorish people who were in Spain at that time, and it was that remodel that gave the Alhambra the prestige that it still has. You can still go see this. It was built on a hill. Its arches, and its colors are sublime, and it's that Alhambra that inspired Francisco Tarrega to write a piece for it. It's a piece it's written in, as most of his pieces are written, in ABA form, but it's really a study in tremolo, where the index, the middle, and the ring finger of the right hand pluck the same string at the same note quickly, imitating one note, and it's a beautiful, beautiful right hand technique that is characteristic of this piece, and it just makes the Recuerdos de Alhambra sing with musical ability and greatness. And that's Francisco Tarrega. He was his influence on contemporary classical guitar cannot be minimized. He has a quote in one of the books that I read, and this is the quote that I'll end with. "The guitar is a talisman that will open the most tightly sealed doors, and sometimes the best one too." That is Francisco Tarrega and his piece Recuerdos de Alhambra, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.